Wayne Hollis. Wayne Hollis was the first Bermuda transplant. I was actually transplanted like 6 months after Wayne. How you doing?
Nice,
You know what that's like.
Let's go back to cardiomyopathy for a minute, because that's important, I think, because that is happening a lot with diabetes. So you have to understand that when that pump is not working, this fluid in the body, what happens first? First, the body is not oxygenated properly, right? So you start to lose nerve and endings in your feet and your lower part of your body because it's not getting proper oxygen. Right? What's some of the other things that are happening? Fluid buildup. Usually you're going to get fluid buildup in your lungs, and you're going to sound like I'm sounding now. Not from fluid buildup, my throat, as I've had so many operations, my throat just voice just goes. Okay, so you get fluid buildup in the lungs, right? And your lungs, you actually start to drown yourself, right? And then you have to increase that pumping in order to get it out, or get it out another way. And the pharmacist, you need to know that drugs are awfully important because they work. Okay, my former field was, I was the director of the National Alcohol and Drug Agency, which moved into the National Drug Commission. And I used to say to people use drugs because they work. All right, they simply work. So drugs are very important. The pharmaceuticals are very important. Do you know some of the pharmaceuticals that are used to help persons with cardiomyopathy? Okay. One of those is butamine. I'm sorry. The butamine. What else? Okay. Warfarin. Warfarin's a drug that actually. Pardon me? No, it's not a cholesterol drug.
So yeah,
Warfarin actually lowers the blood, the system, and thins the blood out. That's what warfarin does. There are two drugs, warfarin and
Coumadin, yeah.
And Coumadin. Now, you know where warfarin comes from?
Yeah, slugs or something like that. Slugs. Mice.
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 Yes. So that's where warfarin comes from mice. It was formerly used as a poison for mice. Serious.
So it kills mice, but it don't kill humans.
No, it thins your blood.
Okay.
Okay, it thins your blood out.
Because of this. No.
Okay. Now, some of the other drugs that are used are drugs that increases the amount of blood supply to the heart, right? And these are drugs like dopamine, dobutamine. Dobutamine is the one that is used a lot now, and they are from the amphetamine, family. And you know what amphetamines do? Speeds up the heart. So drugs work. Don't forget, drugs work. Okay. These are some of the drugs that are repeated. Now, how many of you ever know things about transplants?
A little bit.
Tell me what you know.
Okay.
Pardon me? What are the matches? There should be 7 matches. Tissue, blood type. Pardon me?
Size of the person.
No, they can stick those things and make a match.
As far as the heart's concerned, it has to be the right size.
Size. Absolutely. Size. What else?
Is race a factor?
No.
If it was, a lot of people
Would be dead, exactly, yeah.
I have a white guy's heart.
If you have little back, if the patient is affected in infection already,
Right, exactly. You must be clear of infections and of course, you must be matching. Okay, certain issues, that way. Anything else?
You have to be on the list.
You gotta
Gotta be on the list.
You gotta be addressed on that list, right. The issue today is there are too many people on the list. There are too many people on the list. And I was placed, when I was flown to UPMC, that's University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, there were only 5 hospitals in the United States that could have saved my life when I left here in 1993. Because I left probably the most critical heart transplant that ever left from you. And UPMC was one, Dallas was the second, Stanford was the other one. Cleveland Clinic, which just does marvelous work. If you're looking at working someplace, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Stanford University, Dallas, and Vanderbilt, one of the ones in the South. Okay? They were the only hospitals that could have saved my life because of one reason. You know what that is?
You specialize in body
There are some of the best surgeons and so forth, but they had a machine
That can keep you alive
that
until.
can keep you alive until you got the heart. They call it a bridge. They call it a bridge machine. Okay? And I was placed on a bridge. Let me show you what it looks like. There are 2 different types. I don't know if you can see that. One type goes directly to the heart, and there are 2. That one's attached to the right ventricle, and the other one's to the left ventricle, inside.
You were,
Artificial heart.
yeah, you were conscious when it was.
Not when you're put in, but after you're supposed to be conscious, you're supposed to be able to move around, you're supposed to be able to do a lot of things
Hook it up to you.
with it. Okay, see my stomach, you won't see it, but my stomach is one side. They had stripped the muscles over here, put it in, and the pump, it was then, back in '93, was a huge pump. Just gotta find a picture of it.
And then they have big
Oh, listen, see that? That was the pump that was used.
Like the size of a mini fridge then, right?
It's about the size of a little
A
fridge.
fridge then, yeah.
Yeah, it's about the size of a little fridge. Okay, now I went from having a balloon pump that was inserted up through the groin, and it's a little balloon that opens up to make sure that there's flow and to push the button, it helps the pump. To when I was conscious, as a matter of fact, we were playing cards. We were playing cards. You see a group of people there with Loretta and so forth. Anyway, we were playing cards one night, and the male nurse, rushed in and says, according to the machines outside, you're a friend of mine. And I was sitting on the bed. Okay, lay down right away, everybody out, blah, blah, blah. And according to them, I was flatlined. I was still pumping. There are some amazing things in my story that my wife tells me that I forget, that really happened. And when they played the other night, Angels Watching Over Me, truly, angels have been watching over me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, truly. The doctors still are trying to figure out. They said, well, after the transplant, no, before the transplant, I was unconscious for 14 days when I was placed on the artificial heart. 14 days unconscious. They would come in and check me out, check the brain waves, but they would say, this guy's the most active brain for the person that's unconscious. So they could not take me off the machine. I've heard people being taken off.
Because of some brain activity.
Exactly. They couldn't take me off because my brain was extremely active. And they were saying, as a matter of fact, you've seen it, right?
The writing where you were right. Remember I told them about that. It's in the
They
book
said,
binder.
go ahead there and see what, I would write. Unfortunately, the first thing I wrote was, Send the blonde nurse in to me. I had a nurse that was with me, and nurses, please understand this. One of the best things that you can ever do for patients is to have a nurse that is with you all the way. They know you. They know how you process information. They know so many things they know about you. Okay? And to me, the stars in the medical profession are the nurses. They would,
That's good.
serious.
Yeah, clap. It's true.
They're the stars. They're the stars. The doctors would come in and say, oh, blah, 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 and the nurse would say, no. No, he's done this, he's been able to do this, so he's not as bad as you think. Give him some time. Let me exercise him. Let me get him, and so forth. And they would stretch the journey, okay, and do those types of things. Nurses would then say, hey, he's unconscious, don't take him off the machines yet. I know him. He'll bounce back. He's a fighter. Right? These were nurses fighting with the doctors. So I'm on the artificial heart machine, unconscious, being able to write, being able to hear some things. Dr. Ureski, who is now head of cardiology at Dallas, would lean over and say, Calvin, can you hear me? Can you wake up? And I'm saying, oh, man, if I want to raise my hand, I'll punch him right now. But I could not open my eyes. And we've learned later that it is a defense, a God-given defense for the body to heal. For me to heal. And they're like, this guy's not waking up. But I was getting stronger from the transplant. You see, all healing comes from God, regardless of what they tell you. Regardless of what the medicines say, regardless of what the doctors want to hear, and particularly cardiothoracic surgeons think they're God. They think they're God because they've been able to do some remarkable. God has allowed them to do some remarkable things. I'm telling you, remarkable things. Okay? All healing comes from Him. And it is simply this, that there was a conscious decision by God to hey, he's coming back. And He allowed other people to say, he's a fighter. He's coming back. And get stronger. 14 days in, and a heart became available. 14 days in, I regained conscious on a Wednesday. And the nurse got me up, sitting up right away. This big machine, right? They have to move the machine over, and they set me up. I said, you gotta get stronger. Because anytime a heart is available, you're gonna be the first one. Now, do you know anything about blood types? Have you done blood types yet?
Yes.
AB negative. Anybody in here AB negative? 1%, something like 1 or 2% of the world's population is AB negative. And here I am, waiting for a heart with AB negative blood. What does that mean? What does that mean? My pool is very small. Okay? I was the #1 candidate for AB negative heart transplants on the whole Eastern Coast. If an airplane could fly in from 4 hours out, I was the #1 during these 14 days. During these 14 days, lots of things, activity and so forth. But when I became conscious and woke up and started to sit up, the Thursday I was sitting up, and all of my family's there by now. Because by the way, I didn't tell you, the operation to put the artificial heart in was 13 hours. 13 hours. And the teams of doctors had to rotate. They have a rotating team of doctors. Okay? And in that 13 hours, I died 2-3 times. They would come out and say to my wife, and my mother, we don't think he's gonna make it.